WFAN. This is Mike's on Francesa on the Fan on this Monday, February 8th. First, happy birthday to my brother John. It's his birthday today, so we wish him a happy birthday. Number two big stories, obviously. Super Bowl 50 and the fact that the Knicks, I don't think that the surprise of that many, fired Fisher, replaced him for the interim with Kurt Rambis. We will get to the Super Bowl first, and then later on in the program we'll get to the Knicks. Because, yes, the Knicks are a big story, but nothing obviously trumps the Super Bowl. And the question that we talked about all week was whether or not the defense of Denver could step up and be good enough to take over the game. And to do that, they were going to have to handle the running game. And as I told you all week, that I felt that if they got into the thirds and longs or second and longs, the passing downs, if they could handle the running game and handle first down, then they could win this game. And that's exactly what they did. They handled the running game, handled it brilliantly. And I don't think in the game or at any time that Malik Jackson's been given enough credit for what he did in the running department there and handling the running game. And then obviously turned the game over to the pass rushes, and both Miller and Ware had as good a duo. They were as good a duo in the postseason in terms of getting to the quarterback as any duo that has ever played in the postseason in a single season. That's how good they were this year. Miller did everything that any great player has ever done. Ware was right there with him. Ware deserves credit for even pushing him, obviously, since he got there and turning Miller into a better player. But that was what they did. That was what they overcame in a game where there was very little offense and where Denver got to a point where they were just going to put the ball and the game in the hands of their defense and hope for the best. That's what they did, and they were able to win what I'm sure for a lot of people was not a very exciting Super Bowl, but if you like defense, you saw defense dominate. You saw defense do a great job. You saw defense actually take the offensive in that they were the best unit. They were also the best offensive unit for the Broncos yesterday, and a very, very good game, a very good defensive performance. So 12 times the number one defense has gone to the game. It's 10-2. Yesterday was a 10th win. And give Denver credit, give Wade Phillips credit, give the Denver defenders credit, and a very, very good way for hopefully Peyton Manning to go out. You know, all right, it wasn't a stellar performance by him. All right, it was a complimentary performance at best by the offense and by Peyton Manning yesterday, but he did enough in his career. He had so many great days in his career. He carried bad defense so many times in his career that the last game he got handed the reciprocal. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a just thing. And I think it is a great way for his career to end. And hopefully, I do hope that was the last game as he left the field. Now, there's a lot to get to, and we'll get to all of it. But there's some things that jump out from the beginning. Number one, you have to be very impressed with Miller and Ware and everything they did, and Malik Jackson for what he did in the run game. I was very puzzled that Carolina did not run Cam Newton more by design. He only ran 6 times in the game, either by him calling his own number, him scrambling more, or using him more by design, which I was very surprised by. So I think the little bit they played into Denver's hands. Number two, Newton didn't play very well, but very few quarterbacks are going to play well when under that kind of duress. He also didn't get a lot of help from his receivers who dropped some balls, including the one, especially Kotri dropped down the right sideline when he was one-on-one with Von Miller, and he should have had a ball that he went out of bounds on the 2-yard line. It was in his hands. I mean, it was a good pass. The ball was there. That was a very bad drop. So he was errant with some throws, but he also got some drops and didn't get some help throughout the game. As far as Cam Newton's performance, there's a couple things there that you're going to be very critical of, and I am. And you know what? That's just, if you're a Cam Newton fan, you're just going to have to, live with it. Number one, how does Cam Newton not throw himself on that ball? I mean, you're in the Super Bowl. This is not a preseason game. This is not a regular season game. And if you're going to wear a Superman jersey onto the field, how are you going to act like Lois Lane when the ball's there on the ground? I mean, come on now. How do you not throw yourself on that football? I mean, that's unbelievable. And somebody can make an excuse for him that he didn't see that ball. I don't buy it for a second. How can you tell me that how would you not throw yourself on that football in the Super Bowl? I mean, Cam Newton has got to make a play on that fumble. He has got to. For the life of me, I would have loved. Now, he won't answer many questions in the postgame, as we know. But how is he not making a play on that football? It was at his feet. He did not go to the ground after that ball. Give credit to the announcers for saying, hey, we got to question how much he wanted that ball. And that's basically what they said, and they were right. So I don't understand that play. I'd like to get an explanation from him. He wasn't in the mood to explain much, which we'll get to. But let's be honest. I mean, that could be a game-saving play there. That ball is on the ground. It is loose. He did not go to the ground for the ball. He went to the ground on the sideline when there was a flag thrown he didn't like. He went to the ground on that, rolled around on the sideline in a great display of immaturity. But how did he not go to the ground when the ball was on the ground? You can't wear a Superman shirt and not go to the ground after the football. That's number one. Number two, on the sideline, you can act the way he acts, but we've been down that road before. And then to the postgame, and this is going to haunt him. The fact he didn't go for that football is going to haunt him. Forget that he had a bad game. Hey, listen, guys are going to have bad games. You're playing enough big games, you're going to have rotten games. They all do. And Cam Newton has survived that. He's talented enough to survive that. But number one, he's got to go for the football there. And number two, after the game, if you are going to come out in a Superman jersey in front of the world, if you are going to come out in gaudy gold shoes, if all week you are going to say, no one's ready for what I'm going to show you, then you cannot run away from the questions and walk off the podium after the game. You are the quarterback. After the game in the NFL, there's two people that people want to hear from, the head coach and the quarterback. And if you want to be a big quarterback in this league, you have to come up big in those painful spots. No one said it's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to hear those questions after the game, after you just had a rotten game and your team got your rear end kicked. And losing that Super Bowl hurts. I understand that. Doesn't matter. You signed up for that, to walk off there. To walk off there after the stuff you promised all week, after you ran out in front of the world in that Superman shirt before the game, wore those gaudy gold shoes, and then cut and run after the game because the questions were too hard. You know what? You got to grow up. His team's got to tell him to grow up. His coach has got to tell him to grow up. And the faster he grows up, then he'll turn those losses into wins. Denver made it very clear that they felt that Carolina had disrespected them all week. And they had their noses rubbed in it. They didn't like any part of what they heard all week. They made it very clear after the games last night, if you listen to them, that they were upset about what they heard all week. They felt that Carolina disrespected them. Talked about how much they were going to badly put on a show and beat them. And didn't give them any credit for what they had accomplished. They said, the first thing we know is we beat Ben Roethlisberger, we beat Tom Brady, but we were no good. Well, they showed the world that they are good, real good. As a matter of fact, one of the great postseason defenses in history. They allowed Tom Brady, Cam Newton, and Ben Roethlisberger one touchdown pass in 3 games. And none of the teams scored 20 points. That's a great defensive showing. In this world, in this day and age where it's easy to play offense, that is a great defensive showing. But if you're Cam Newton, and I'm not making this all about Cam Newton, but if you're Cam Newton, you got to go to the ground for that ball, and you got to stand there and answer the questions and answer them properly and take your medicine after you lose. And the sooner he realizes that, the better player he'll become, and the bigger leader he'll become, and the more he will become one of the faces of the NFL because that's part of his job. Now to Manning. This wasn't a great performance, as we know. This was one of the weak offensive. Matter of fact, no one's ever had that weak an offensive performance in the Super Bowl and ever won as a team. Quarterbacks have a couple, but his is ranked with the others. It was a performance that, luckily, the defense was there. He basically held on for dear life, let's be honest. He threw a terrible pick and gave away 3 points. He fumbled the ball at an inopportune time. He's lucky he didn't have at least 2 or 3 other intercepted, including a pick six on the first drive where McClain had a pick six if he just stepped in front of the ball. He didn't do a lot yesterday, but for once he was there. He's the quarterback. He gets the win, but we know against a good Carolina defense, it wasn't a great day. Now, to me, his career deserved the second Super Bowl. I'm very glad he got it. He has been a great person for this league. He has been an iconic figure for this league. He has been everything that's right about this league, and he's done everything right. Now he should retire because you know what? Deion Sanders said it best after the game last night. And Deion, give him credit. He went after Cam Newton after the game last night. He was right there. And he also said something that was exactly dead on point about Manning last night. He said, either you leave the game or the game leaves you. Peyton now has a chance to leave the game. The next opportunity, the game will leave him. Peyton's lasting moment can be this game. If he comes back, it will be some field where he leaves bloodied, broken, or because he threw 5 picks, because he doesn't have anything left. And I hope he realizes that. I just hope he does. Now, it's his call, not mine. And one thing for Peyton. Peyton, the first guy you kiss can't be Papa John, okay? And listen, this is a big moment. First of all, I have no idea why Papa John's on the field. Shame on the NFL for having him on the field. But if you're Peyton Manning, you have enough money. The first guy you kiss can't be Papa John, okay? It can't be. And if I see that as a commercial, I'll throw up. Enough. You make enough money. The first guy you kiss can't be Papa John after the game. Why is he on the sideline? But for him, they won. The defense was great. He got out of there. Good for him. I'm thrilled for him. Take the cue. You've had an incredible career. You rank with the greatest players who ever lived. And you know what they're going to say 5 years from now? They're going to say Peyton Manning is as good as any quarterback who ever lived. He just wasn't the best Super Bowl quarterback who ever lived. And that's how it should be summed up. All those records, all those wins, 200 wins as a quarterback, plenty of playoff wins, 3 straight AFC title wins over Tom Brady, a winning record over Tom Brady, 2-2 in the Super Bowl, but he wasn't at his best in the Super Bowl. He wasn't Joe Montana in the Super Bowl. He wasn't Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Fine. But day in, day out, 5 MVPs, 1 million records, 200 wins. He was great. Leave it at that. It's just the Super Bowl wasn't his best show. Give Kubiak credit. I've never been a big fan. He knew how to play this. It's not easy to throw the ball on 3rd and 9 up 6 points in the Super Bowl with 5 minutes left and punt the ball back. And that's what he did. He put it in his defense, and he knew his defense could do the job. He played that game. They played to play a lead, which they desperately needed, and then they did it around the offense and put it in the hands of the defense. They got a punt return that helped. They got 2 turnovers set up by the defense. They scored one and put one 4 yards away. Peyton made a couple of mistakes, got away with a couple of plays. The bottom line, is he got the job done. It wasn't pretty. All right, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't great. It was a very little amount of offense in a game where there was no offense. But Kubiak read his team right, and that's your job as a head coach, is to know what your team can do and can't do in a big spot. He knew what his team could do and couldn't do in a big spot. gave Manning a throw when he was in field goal range. He gave him a throw, and on that throw, Manning threw a terrible pick, and he said to himself, I'm not going to do that again. Now we'll leave it in the hands of our defense. And his defense was there, every single play of that game. A lot of things went wrong for Carolina yesterday. You know what? They made mistakes. They had bad turnovers. They dropped interceptions. So they had a bad day. I agree with that. They had drops. They did a bad job. They didn't have a good day. Bad throws, bad drops. They didn't play well. But more than anything else, they went up against a defense that dominated the game and made its presence felt and delivered a Super Bowl. And we've seen it more than not. The puzzling thing for me was why they went so far away from the running game. Yes, Stewart got banged up a little early. But they went away from the running game, especially the part of the running game that would have put pressure on the edge rushers. They did not go to that much. It surprised me. I really believe that they played overconfidently on offense throughout a lot of that game, where they just felt, you know what? Denver's not going to score enough points. We're going to have our moment. We're going to get our break. We're going to make our play. And you know what? Maybe they could have done that, but it didn't work out that way. I thought Rivera had a very puzzling day. I think he had a great job this year. He did a great job with this team this year. There's two things in the game that really puzzled me. Number one, you can't take your second challenge when in the second quarter and leave yourself without a challenge for the last 35, 37 minutes of the Super Bowl to gain 7 yards. It was either 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 17. You can't use your second challenge there. You had lost your first challenge. And a lot of people debated whether that was incomplete or complete. I thought it was incomplete. Some people I was watching with thought it was complete. I'll debate that one with you. But it was a second challenge. He knew that. And his last challenge to gain 7 yards, that was ridiculous. You needed a challenge in your pocket in the Super Bowl. God forbid there had been a game-changing play. He couldn't have challenged it. Then tell me this. At the end of the game, why is he punting on 4th down? Down 2 scores. I don't care if it's 4th and 100. This is the Super Bowl. You try and make a play. There's 2 minutes left. If you punt the ball, they had 2 timeouts, but the punt was going to take them through the 2-minute warning, so they weren't going to. The break was going to come right there before Denver ever ran a play. So you didn't have 3 timeouts, you had 2, because the 2-minute warning wasn't going to help you. Why would you not go on 4th down? What do you care if you wind up losing by a bigger margin than where you was? So what? Let's say the nightmare happened and you wound up losing 31-10. Who cares? The idea is to win the game. You have 2 minutes left. What if you complete that pass? A guy falls down, you run in for a touchdown. Now you got 1:40 left and you're down 7 and 2 scores left and 2 timeouts. Why would you not play the last play of a Super Bowl? There was 2 minutes left, not 2 seconds. We never saw the last play, as we know. We never saw the last play again. The game didn't end. We never saw the last play on CBS. But that's okay. We never saw a replay all night anyway. They're so busy running promos that we never saw a replay all night. You know how many plays they never replayed last night because every play's got a promo after it? That's the problem with the game. Every play's got a promo. But how, if you're Rivera, do you not play 4th down? This is the Super Bowl. There's 2 minutes left. How do you know you don't get a flag? How do you know you don't get a bounce in the air and somebody makes... These things happen. Have you not watched the end of these games this year? Why would you not try? Who cares if you would lose by more points? What was the idea to lose close? I don't understand that. Why would you not go on? I don't care if it's 4th and 108, I'm going. Why would I ever punt the ball back? Do you think the game was over after that? When Denver punted the ball back again to Carolina, you think the game was over? They didn't put Ware and Miller back in the game. I just didn't understand that. This is the Super Bowl. Did Rivera and Cam Newton forget somewhere along the way that this was the Super Bowl? You don't dive on a fumble that is at your feet in the Super Bowl? You don't go on fourth down in the Super Bowl? There's no more games, guys. So for Peyton Manning, I say congratulations and take this opportunity to ride off into the sunset because there's not a lot of left. You know what? No one should have ever thrown as many touchdown passes as Peyton Manning threw, but the arm and the bank account is overdrawn. He's not throwing anymore. He's not throwing anymore. And I think Deion Sanders said it perfectly. Either you leave the game or the game leaves you. And he gets a chance to leave the game, leave it. And for Cam Newton, there's a whole lot of growing up to do. You know what? That's a bitter pill to swallow to lose that game. When you're outspoken and you're brash and you're talented and you're the MVP, it's a hard fall in that game. There's no question. But you got to understand that if you're going to dish it out, you got to take it. You can't walk away. You cannot get up and walk away. His postseason, his post-game press conference will absolutely be textbook of what not to do at the end of a bad loss. To sit there, not look at the people who are talking to you, give them one-word answers, and then get up and walk out. You just don't want to do that. You can't do it. Not if you want. Listen, part of being a quarterback in this league is you get a lot of commercials, you get a lot of money, you get a lot of fame, you get a lot of praise, you get a lot of criticism, and you have a lot of responsibility. And that means to face the music. It's not only about dancing the dances when you win, it's about dancing the dances when you don't win. He would have been better off doing the dab there than he did with what he did. And that picture, that whole dab by the whole team, wasn't lost on Denver. That team picture wasn't lost on the Broncos. They rubbed their noses in it last night. Back after this.
If you're in Connecticut looking for name brand tires at the guaranteed lowest price, there's only one place to go, Town Fair Tire, because nobody beats a Town Fair Tire deal. Nobody!
Name brands at discount prices, Town Fair Tire.
This is a special alert to consumers who owe back taxes to the IRS.
Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers on back taxes, resulting in back taxes reduced by thousands of dollars. An open phone line has been established by Federal Tax Relief for consumers to call and see if you qualify for this reduction to ensure your financial stability during this decline in the economy. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-237-2199. That's 1-800-237-2199. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, there is no need to fear anymore. The IRS is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers, resulting in tax debts reduced by thousands of dollars. For your free information and to see if you qualify for your reduction, call the Federal Tax Relief Hotline, 1-800-237-2199. 1-800-237-2199. That's 1-800-237-2199.
It's refund season, America. And this year, when you come into Block to get your refund, you'll also get a chance to win $1,000. 1,000 people win $1,000 every day at Block. That's an extra $1,000 in your hand. So what are you waiting for? Don't you want an extra $1,000? Walk in to win. It's refund season.
No purchase necessary. For rules and alternate method of entry, visit hrblock.com/grant. Open to legal U.S. residents age 18 plus. Enter January 4th.
East Fisher with Kurt Rambis for the interim for the rest of the season. We'll get to all that. We don't want to get to it now. But the Knicks have been bad lately, and were again yesterday. And, but that's for another day. Let's get for later today. We'll get to that later today. And, but right now, give you a chance to get in. Denver's win, Denver's defense, and a win for the Broncos and for Elway and for Manning, and a tough day, obviously, for Cam Newton and his many fans. Kenny in Staten Island, what's up, Kenny?
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
What's happening?
Before I get to my points on the game, you're 100% right about, Manning mentioning, he's looking for his last payday with promos, I guess, with what went on around him after the game. With even the beer sponsor he mentioned.
Yeah, he did mention Budweiser, which, again, I don't know if he has a deal with them, but, the Papa John kiss is a little much. That's a little...
I think the NFL's got to take a look at this and, basically, let's just keep it to football. Even the halftime show, keep it to football. We don't need no political
Well,
statement.
listen, the football, they're going to do they're going to do a halftime show. They're going to put guys on at halftime. That's going to happen.
Yeah, but keep it to entertainment, not political.
What was political at halftime?
What do you call it? With Beyonce, with the Black Panthers.
Oh, stop. Listen, I'm not, most people didn't even notice that. But no one's paying attention to that. Most people, I tell you, didn't even notice that, I'm sure. Matt in Manhattan, what's up, Matt?
Hey, Mike, a couple of the coaching things I wanted to go over with you. The first one, I got to disagree about the 4th and 24. I actually like that call. The problem is but Mike, they didn't execute it. Here's the thing.
Oh, come on now.
Mike, let me explain it. Can I explain it?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me this one.
There's 2 minutes and 8 seconds left at the 4th and 24. The clock is stopped. If they go for it and don't make it, they're down 6 right now. Denver's going to kick a field goal and go up 2 scores. So what you do?
Well, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the 4th. What are you talking about? They're going to go up 2 scores. They're up 2 scores.
No, they were only down 6 points at that point.
What are you talking about? What game were you watching? What game are you watching? Anthony in Dix Hills. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
What's happening?
A couple of things about, Cam Newton and the game itself. I don't want to discredit, the great defensive performance, Denver did, but it seemed like Carolina really was not prepared to play this football game. A lot of mistakes, drop passes, interceptions, fumbles, you name it.
Not prepared. I don't know about not prepared. That's like giving Denver no credit for what they did.
Well,
so how do you?
I
don't understand. What do you mean not ready? I don't understand.
Well, a lot of mistakes, especially on special teams with that punt. When they had the guy down and he took it for 62 yards.
What do you mean they had him down? How'd they have him down?
He punted the ball. There's like 3 players around him.
Right.
I guess they thought he could.
So you wanted to prepare for that during the week? How are you going to prepare for that? You said
but
they
it's
weren't
just
prepared.
a combination. It's a combination of things within the game.
How about they got their rear ends kicked at the line of scrimmage? How about that? They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball, and they couldn't protect their quarterback from getting hit on every play. So that's where they lost the game.
Absolutely, and they had a lot of penalties too. It just
Why do you think they had 6 false starts in a building with no noise? Why do you think that is?
Because they were not ready for that.
No,
game.
because no. The reason you have 6 false starts is because your guys get jumpy because they're trying to get a jump on the speed rushes, and they couldn't. They were so out of their mind.
Well, Ware was blasting around the edges. So yeah,
because
you're right.
that's it has nothing to do with preparation. It has to do with they were being outplayed badly, and their guys tried to get jumpy at the line of scrimmage. All right, that's what it comes down. They're getting jumpy because they're trying to get a jump on the speed rushes. Nelson in West Town. What's up, Nelson?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
What's happening?
Just had a couple of points on the game itself. You're right about the promos and the replays. It just killed me. I remember turning to my wife at the 8-minute mark of the first quarter, and they're already talking about how the halftime is coming up real soon. And it's like, what do you mean real soon? It's the 8-minute mark of the first quarter. The
game is such a promotion machine. It's gotten to the point now where they do not even let you do a football game. Because they don't even let you televise the game properly. They don't even let you have replay, they were not, they did not fully execute replays in this game. We never saw some plays more than once. In every NFL game, we see the replays. We were not seeing the replays in the game.
And I'm so glad I put my son to sleep early because for Cam Newton not to give him 3 minutes and do a Marshawn Lynch. And it's funny, he did say something about how we're not prepared for what he's giving. And I tell you the truth, I am prepared because this performance, it sort of looks like Donovan McNabb. I mean, this is a comparison to that. Now I am ready because I see this is a Donovan McNabb performance. And just one other point real quick, Mike. Did you think that the
I don't know what that means, Donovan McNabb performance. I don't know. Donovan McNabb just, he took a lot of time to try and score, but I mean, he wasn't, Cam Newton all week bragged at the Super Bowl, promised everybody, you will not believe what you're going to see, what I have in store for you, what I'm going to show America.
Exactly.
And he went out there and stunk and then walked out on the questions. That you can't do. I don't think Donovan McNabb did anything wrong. He just kind of lost it. He just wasn't up to the challenge, maybe, but that's fine. But Donovan McNabb didn't go out of his way and insult anybody. He didn't go out of his way and brag all week. He didn't do any of that stuff that I remember. So I don't want to drag Donovan McNabb into this. Cam Newton's just got to grow up. I'm being honest with you. He's just got to grow up. He's rolling around on the sideline. All right, he's rolling around on the sideline on the play where Manning threw the ball on third down. And he was going to throw it for the touchdown, and if he didn't have anybody open, he was going to throw it out of bounds, and the ball was not catchable. So they couldn't call pass interference there. So what they do is they throw a flag, and then they say it's holding, which they always do, because if it's not catchable and they got an interference play, what they do is they call it a hold. So they called it a hold. They gave him first down. And, Cam Newton knew then, now we're dead, not getting the ball back. Now 3 more plays. So he's rolling around on the sideline, which shows a real lot of support for his teammates as he's rolling around on the sideline after the play. I don't get it, to be honest with you. But again, what Cam Newton showed all week and what he showed during the game and what he showed after the game was the same thread, and that was immaturity. He's very talented. He needs to grow up. That's all. 141. Here's Mr. Met.
All right, Mike, this report is brought to you by SupplyHouse.com. No one takes better care of the contractor than SupplyHouse.com. The Knicks lost Sunday afternoon to the Nuggets. Was their 5th in a row and 9th and 10th games. And so Phil Jackson had seen enough. He fired Derek Fisher today.
It's time for us to make a change and turn this team around and move forward and get some wins and keep going down the road we had started here at the beginning of the year.
When the Knicks were showing signs of progress, but now they stand a season-worst 8 games under 500. Assistant coach Kurt Rambis takes over on an interim basis. Knicks play the Wizards tomorrow. After beating the Knicks on Sunday, the Nuggets tonight visit the Nets. Coverage on WCBS 880. After winning his 2nd Super Bowl, Peyton Manning is still sitting on his retirement decision, says he'll make up his mind in a few weeks. Buffalo running back, former Eagle LaShawn McCoy, has not been charged, but was reportedly one of several assailants involved in the assault of 2 off-duty police officers inside a Philadelphia nightclub early this morning. The officers were hospitalized. McCoy under investigation. Rangers, Devils at the Garden. Devils hockey on the Fan at 6:50. And the new top-ranked college basketball team in the country is Villanova. And this report is brought to you by Fox 5 News at 5 p.m. with Dari Alexander and Steve Lacey. It's relevant, engaging New York. Also brought to you by Farmers Insurance. Spilled pool chemicals melting a truck. Farmers Insurance has seen it and covered it. See their most unbelievable but true claims at farmers.com/Hall of Claims. And with reports every 20 minutes, Bob Uster, WFAN 2020 Sports.
WFAN's toll-free line is 877-337-6666. Brought to you by Mohegan Sun. Full of action, full of possibilities, full of life.
Hey, it's Flo, and this is my impression of a less-than-ideal job candidate. Is the owner here? Oh, you're the owner! Whatever. So I can only work Monday through Wednesday sometimes. And I gotta get out at 2 p.m. sharp. Band practice, We're big on covers. Like how Progressive covers both businesses and commercial auto. Anyway, sorry I'm late, but being late's sort of my thing.
All the coverage your business needs at progressivecommercial.com.
Resume? Nah, I don't really do those. I just like to come in and let my personality shine.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
My husband didn't want terminal cancer to keep him from Sarah's birthday. We talked to our hospice team, and they made it possible for him to be home for games and cake, ice cream and memories. I made sure he got the best hospice. Vitas Healthcare made sure he saw our granddaughter turn 6.
Hospice is home with family. Hospice is Vitas. Find out more. Call 800-900-9087 or go to whatishospice.com.
This is John John Feinstein with a CBS Sports Minute. Here's the message the University of Louisville sent to its Hall of Fame basketball coach on Friday. We don't believe you. Spin it any way you like, but Louisville's decision to remove itself from postseason this year makes it clear the school thinks there was plenty of fire behind the book that alleges Rick Pitino's basketball program was out of control in recent years. Pitino has been Sergeant Schultz from day one. I know nothing, blaming it all on a graduate assistant coach run amok. Question: who hired the graduate assistant? Question: if the coach being paid millions takes credit for national titles, should he not take blame if an assistant making almost nothing makes a mockery of NCAA rules? As usual, the players pay the most severe penalty for the misbehavior of the alleged grown-ups. Pitino will still get his huge paycheck. The players get 8 more games. I'm John Feinstein.
This is a special alert to consumers who owe back taxes to the IRS.
Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers on back taxes, resulting in
The day after, Super Bowl 50 is now history, and it was a very defensive one. No team has ever won with those kind of offensive numbers. As a matter of fact, those numbers rank with the worst offensive performances in the history of the Super Bowl, and they're the first time those kind of numbers ever were on a winning side. Denver had under 200 yards offense. They were one for 14 on third down. They had just 11 first downs in the game. So the numbers were staggeringly low, and Manning was 13 for 23 for 140 yards and 1 interception. Numbers that are, if they were in a losing effort, you would be destroyed for such numbers, and they turned out to be on the winning side. On the other side, the numbers, weren't a whole lot better. Carolina had 315 total yards. They had 118 yards rushing, but they didn't run the ball well. And the number that jumps out at me of the numbers there is, I never thought Cam Newton would rush the ball just 6 times in this game. 6 for 45. I thought he would rush the ball upwards of 15 times in this game. I never thought he would rush the ball 6 times in the Super Bowl. They shut Stewart down, 12 for 29. That was really, they stopped first down. They got him in long, and they thought that they could handle the passing game. They handled it well, as a matter of fact. They broke a couple of big plays. Their receivers actually made some plays because Brown had 4 catches for 80 yards, 20 yards a catch, very, very good. Ginn had 4 catches for 74 yards. Both of them had 40-yard pass plays. Those are big pass plays. 2 40-yard pass plays. But didn't follow it up. The Cotchery play was a very big drop for Cotchery, and that was a pass that was well thrown by Newton. Gary in Jersey. What's up, Gary?
Hey, Mike. Really happy with the outcome of the game and for Peyton Manning. I know the defense won the game, but my question is, if Elway's going to bring back this defense, shouldn't Peyton come back for one more year?
There is no chance. There's no. I can tell you this right now. First of all, I don't think Peyton will play again. Secondly, there is no chance Elway is bringing Manning back to quarterback.
Even if he takes a pay cut,
he won't bring him back on that. You can take it to the bank that Brock Osweiler will be their quarterback next year. That there is no chance. Archie Manning, after the game, if you saw him, said, I don't know if we're done for good, but we're done with Denver. So now it seems like the only story is, does he go back to the Rams? But why would you go to the Rams, who aren't that good, who don't have a good offensive line, and go there and get the heck beat out of you? You're not going to gain anything with the Rams next year. You can tell me Peyton's going to wait and build the Super Bowl champion there and wait 3 or 4 years? Come on.
But look, one other thing. I had asked you this, if Peyton Manning was the greatest quarterback of all time when he had one. You said he had to win one more. So now that he has the second one, would you put him up there?
No. He's not the best quarterback of all time. I don't know what I would
5
use.
MVPs.
Yeah, I think he's the best regular season quarterback, but I'm not going to tell you. He never had a good he never had a good Super Bowl in 4 shots. He never had one. He never played a big Super Bowl in 4 shots. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's better than John Unitas or better than Joe Montana. I'm not going to do that. But I'm not going to tell you that they're better than him. What I'm going to tell you is that I said what I said all along. Peyton Manning was never at his best in the Super Bowl. He won 2. He's never at his best there. But he was at his best enough other days that he ranks with any quarterback who ever lived. I'm not going to proclaim him as the best, though. I don't think it's fair. He played 4 Super Bowls. Luckily, he won 2. Let's be honest. He wasn't good yesterday. He did nothing yesterday in that game. He was lucky to win that game yesterday. He knows that. Ira, Staten Island, what's up, Ira?
Hey, Mike, what's happening?
What's happening?
You know, we discussed this game leading up to it, and, you know, it played out, you know, just as we gave Denver a shot. It played right into their hands.
They had to win this way, and they had to stop him on a run and then beat him with the pass rush, and that's what they did.
That's right. And you know what? You got to give Denver's coaching staff a real good job.
They did a great job.
And Carolina, and I thought so. I thought if this game was close, they were not going to be able to handle the big moment and the magnitude of the game. And you could see it, not only coaching, but the players. And like you just brought it up, how Cam didn't go for that loose ball near the end of the game. It's mind-boggling how he didn't dive for that ball. And he had checked out. He had mentally checked out of that game because he lost it. You know, the immaturity and the inexperience of being in a game like that showed yesterday, and that's why they lost.
Yeah, and listen, let's say this: Miller dominated the sport the way a great defender can dominate the sport.
That's
right. Miller dominated the games. They couldn't block him. He wrecked the game. That's what he did. He got in there. He not only got sacks, he stripped the ball. He was responsible for 2 touchdowns. He wrecked the game as a defender. And that's what a great defender does in a big spot. He wrecks the game. That was LT-like what Von Miller did. But the unsung hero there is Jackson. He had a great game. Billy in Bay Ridge. What's up, Billy?
Well, Mike,
yes, Billy.
I just wanted to say I enjoyed the game a lot, and that defense was one of the best I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, but you were right about the defense, and what you said was true, you know.
Listen, the defense played great. I mean, that was their chance to win the game. I mean, the chance to win the game was to do what they did, and it worked. I mean, that's the bottom line. They had to shut down the run, and then they could attack on the pass plays. And that's exactly what they did, and it worked well. They shut the run down. They stopped the running game. They got them in 2nd long and in 3rd long, and then they went to town with their speed rushes. Anthony and Ronkonkoma. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Mike. Mike, in a year where the referees have been scrutinized so terribly, it amazes me what an effect they had on such a huge game.
How do you figure?
I know you said that you'll debate the Jericho Cotchery. In my opinion, you know, it was a catch. And
I don't think it was a catch. I didn't think it was a catch.
Rivera had to use the challenge.
Well, that was his first challenge. That wasn't anything wrong with that.
No, but here's my point. It's not Rivera's fault that the refs kept messing up because in a game that's going to be that defensive, 7 yards is huge.
That's ridiculous. You cannot listen. Once you've used your first challenge, you cannot, as a head coach, not take a challenge into the second half of the Super Bowl.
But you don't know what's going to happen.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to do Anthony for 7 yards. Come on, for 7 yards, you're going to lose your challenge that could maybe overturn a touchdown, maybe overturn a 60-yard play or a 70-yard play or a kick return for a touchdown or a fumble return or a fumble in the end zone. You can't use your second challenge in the second quarter for 7 yards. That was awful. Not your second challenge. For 7 yards. Chris in Brooklyn. What's up, Chris?
All right, Mike.
What's happening?
Mike, I just want to say, is it wrong for me to enjoy seeing Cam fall flat on his face?
No, nothing wrong with that. Why? Why would you care? If you're rooting against him, why not?
I mean, all year he's prancing around and dancing. I mean, and the guy didn't even congratulate the winners. I mean, no more do you see that anymore in sports.
I don't know that he did or he didn't. Did he not congratulate the other team?
Or say a few congratulatory words towards.
Oh, Manning said he was gracious after the game. He and Manning have a good relationship. So I never accused him of not congratulating the other team. I never said he didn't. Isn't Malik Jackson a free agent? I believe, right? He is a free agent, I believe, right? And how about that draft? That draft was Cam Newton, Von Miller. He's a free agent. What was his contract status this past year? So Jackson's a free agent. Von Miller's a free agent. They might have to tag Von Miller, of course. That's obviously a possibility. At a position where I think they'd actually save money if they tagged him for a year, because I think it's only like $14 million. He was making 1.5 last year. And how many has he been in the league? 12 was his first year? Okay. So now he is a fully vested veteran. So he's an unrestricted free agent. If I'm the Giants, I would be very interested. I mean, he's gonna have plenty of. I'd be very interested in him if I'm the Giants. Very interested. He was a tremendous postseason. He had a wonderful game yesterday against the run. He was the unsung hero against the run yesterday. I thought he did a great job. Really a wonderful job. And, Von Miller's going to get a lot of attention. They'll franchise Von Miller, and he won't like it, because I think the franchise tag would only be like $14 million, and that's cheap for him. So, now maybe they'll sign him to a long-term deal. I don't know. You see, that's why they're not going to pay Peyton Manning. I mean, they're not even going to be – there's no chance they would even be interested in Peyton Manning. Remember, Peyton Manning did not come back. And Elway said yesterday, what about if Manning had held your feet to the fire? He said, I would have paid him. But he didn't have to, and he actually gave him a contract that he got $2 million for winning the AFC title and $3 million for winning the Super Bowl. So he won another $5 million in bonuses for winning the 2 games. But I can't see any reason for Manning to even consider, I'm being serious, to consider going to the Rams to play, because it will not end well. And I agree with what Deion said. Either you leave the game, or the game will leave you. And the game will leave him. As a matter of fact, it already has. He got out of there yesterday. There are scenarios yesterday I can give you that are not pretty. How about this scenario? And it was one I was thinking of. Carolina comes down the field, takes a 17-16 lead. Manning in his own end has to drive the ball against that defense in the last 2 minutes. That might not have ended pretty. That might have ended with another one of those pick sixes. Because, he was having trouble with them in the second half of that game, let's be honest. Again, in this game, his first drive was his best drive. I mean, that was his best moments were in the beginning of the game again. After that, he didn't have a lot of good moments. He had some good throws on the first drive. And they blitzed him, which they backed off doing after that, too, because the blitzes weren't working. But if I'm Peyton, I mean, there will never be a better time to get out. There can't be anything that you want. You've done everything you could possibly do. You got the money. Go. This is the perfect time. I mean, I don't usually get involved, and I don't really, it's his business, not mine. But, boy, I can't see a reason in the world not to retire. Here's Mr. Matt.
WFAN FM, New York.
WFAN 2020 Sports.
All right, Mike. Phil Jackson wanted Steve Kerr, ended up with Derek Fisher. Turns out Jackson's first instinct was correct, and now he begins the search for his second coach. Jackson fired Fisher today, said it was time for a change following the Knicks' 5th straight loss and 9th in 10 games. One of the questions for Jackson today, will the new head coach need to run his triangle offense?
Someone has to match the style of the way we do things. And there's a certain style that I have that I think works, and I've found worked before. That's an important aspect, and we'll find that type of person.
For now, Kurt Rambis coaches the Knicks on an interim basis. Knicks Wizards tomorrow, last game heading into the All-Star break, and then the Knicks come out of the break by playing the Nets, who tonight play the team that beat the Knicks on Sunday. Nets and Nuggets on WCBS 880. Peyton Manning said today he will wait a few weeks before deciding whether or not Sunday's Super Bowl victory was his last game. Buffalo running back, former Eagle LaShawn McCoy, reportedly under investigation following the assault of 2 off-duty Philadelphia police officers inside a nightclub early this morning. The officers were hospitalized. McCoy's not yet been charged. Devils Rangers tonight. It's on the Fan at 6:50, and for the first time in program history, Villanova is the number 1 team in the college basketball polls. This report is brought to you by SupplyHouse.com. No one takes better care of the contractor than SupplyHouse.com. The Michael's Cause 5th Annual Dinner Gala to help fight muscular dystrophy takes place on March 12th at the Hilton Garden Inn on Staten Island. Details at michaelscause.org. 32 degrees and cloudy skies at Central Park. And that's what's happening. I'm Bobby Schler with 2020 Sports on Sports Radio 66 and on your FM dial to 1019, your flagship station for Boomer and Carton in the morning. And Mike's on. Francesa on the Fan in the afternoon.